from that standpoint, how did that affect of where we are in our life right now? Like, how did you grow up with, like, you know, being in a public school system and where they pass you by, not teaching you money management skills, things of that nature, the welfare, how do we feel about that? You know, certain things of how our culture influence where we are in our life, you know, what we had to come through from education, financial situations, understanding money, how to deal with money, not being taught. Like you said, when you bought that scooter, when y'all came on the block with the scooters, I was like, shit, I got that. I want me a scooter so bad.
Yeah, hey, look, that was Doc and all them.
Yeah.
I stayed away from that because I was like, you know what I'm saying?
Put your money to the side.
Hey, you know, one ain't that. I'm just wasn't no risk taker on the level of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I pick my battle.
Yeah.
But don't mean I wasn't on the back alone sometimes, but.
So do you think the school systems, the way you grew up, community, did it, like, how, from an educational standpoint, like, did you learn or did you not grow, or what could have been different, you know, you growing up?
You public school, you still?
I was public school. So for me, it's funny, right? I don't know how they ran the school system, elementary to junior high, right? I don't, where I grew up with, where my mom was. We had a nice school. You know, they call it D1 through 6 in Ohio, right? D1's your big school, all the way down. It's in a D2 school. I mean, they might be D3 now. I think it's a bigger school, right? I think I had a pretty good education there. Public school did me right. But then I went to the school down south, and they pass budgets differently than we do in Virginia, right? So they call what is called a levy, right? So everybody votes on a levy. You know, do we want to pass this budget for the school, or are we going with the same budget as last year, right? And it's the only things that really change, to my knowledge. Now, we couldn't pass a levy for years. So, like, I mean, our schools, I mean, it's getting old, it's getting just run down, but really what saved it was the sports, right? So we had this old football field, they turfed it, made it look right. They bulldozed the old school after I graduated, and they built a new school. I mean, things immaculate, man. So it's got the junior high and the high school all together. They bulldozed the old middle school. But saying that, that we couldn't get money in the schools, I think kind of protected us a little bit. You know, we didn't have all these other programs that were nonsense and, you know, different administrators. All that money had to be focused in on our staff, our teachers, right? So you might have an older book, right? But usually history doesn't change. Math doesn't change, stuff like that. So we have some older books, stuff like that. But I think we got pretty good content. Now, do I wish we would have had better classes as far as finance, personal finance growing up? 100%.
And that's so sad. KKK. Young, I got old cash, spazzing on they ass. I got Prada on my ass. Got my lab one mad, poppin' like a damn tag. Shopping on they ass. I just bought a new old Jag. Yeah, it's so fast. Smoking flow, you a jackass. All I smoke is gas. Don't you ask me where the pole at.
I was in this political science class. We kind of learned a little bit about how the government was structured, how it was built, all that stuff. But I wish we could have had something where we had a debate in there, you know, whether it be left or right or whatever, you know, and if you're on the right, you had to argue for the left. I think it would be cool to see something like that, make kids think, you know, from the other perspective. But, you know, being in the school system now, I think there's a lot of great things and a lot of great strides that we've made in public education, 100%. However, I do think there's a lot of other stuff in there that we can do without, you know, that we can cut out.
When I went to school versus now, is that the culture with school these days and times is there more so to allow free thinkers, for the teachers, and let them teach their classes, on a whole nother level than our teachers were even able to. And they get this time, they get to learn stuff that I wish that they had back then. You got certain teachers, they take it upon themselves to, if they don't bring hip hop into the class and teach the kids through a hip hop way of learning, and they get it.
Right.
Or that teacher is like, I'm going to teach these kids about financial literacy, or I'm going to teach them, about stocks and properties and ownership. It's like, it's like, wow, I feel gypped to see. And then just with the whole internet thing that we didn't have back then, that you can get so much more knowledge. And when you search more and get more in depth, you find out that, wow, what I was taught in school was some bullshit. And when a lot of contradictions, a lot of lies, a lot of cover-ups, it's almost like church sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like one of them things, like if you looking in a book and the literature is not matching the pictures. If it's saying, skin of bronze, hair of wool, lamb's wool, but then you see pale face, straight hair person, it's just like,
Yeah, he was in the desert. He didn't even have a tan on that picture.
And then it's like, I always, since a youngin', been, that's why I couldn't get with church as a youngin', and my parents make me go to church, because I'm more of a type of person where I need to know why, how, where. I need to touch it, I need to feel it, I need to smell it. You know what I'm saying? So when it's a contradictory, because I'm thinking more than average.
But they didn't make the Bible a picture book, right? That the pictures were all made by men, right?
Yeah. And with men, I always tell people, when it's man-made, believe there is always to be tainted, because man create things for their own personal agenda. You know what I'm saying? So things that we grew up on and learned, we don't know the creators of that and what was their purpose of creating the rules and laws. You know what I'm saying? And then when you see, like, even like with our rights, you know what I'm saying, that you gotta know, it don't take a rocket science to figure out that the person who created all these laws and rules had to be a racist. You know what I'm saying? Because if they make, you gotta
Some of them.
Look, if you going to determine that one race of people is not on the same level as another race, like actually below, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know what I'm saying? You gotta.
I'm not knocking none of that.
You gotta think. If you're a thinker, you gotta be like, oh, since they created this stuff, they had to be a white person creating these laws and rules.
But you look at the First Amendment, Second Amendment, you go all the way through the Constitution, right? And you look at all of our amendments, it doesn't say if you're black, if you're white. So I don't think it is made to do that. But going back to what you said about free thinkers in the school, I think 100% that we need to be doing that. Like you said, it's an evolution. We should evolve our teaching strategies to reach the children, right? So long as it's part of the curriculum. So long as it goes to a goal, right? It's like a basketball game, right? I've never played basketball, but I know a couple things, right? Right? I know that there's a score, right? We need to know what the score is, right? We need to know what the rules are, and we know how much time is left on the clock. If we can master all three of those, we can get to our end goal of what we're doing, right? So we need to know what rules in the classroom we're playing by. We need to know by what time we need to get these students to there, and we need to see what the score is, where those kids are at in their education to get them to that spot, right? You like my basketball analogy? I figure I'd give you one.
I think what you said, like this, that's what I mean by putting people in the box. Like when I told you that story about the lady calling us colored, the times they were in created the laws because that's the times that they were in.
Mm-hmm. And it was acceptable then. You see colored bathrooms.
So did they? I'm even way.
But you're supposed to change.
Well, 100%.
Did they force their hand to create the law? Yes. We all know that because of history. But here's
But you say you took exception to the word colored. It's in NAACP.
yeah, but I that's what I said.
Right.
That's what the terminology was when the NAACP was started. That's the word. So so it's education. Like we talking about, is educating yourself on history, right? And I said, for me, so I look at it I look at it a lot of different ways, man. I look at like Frederick County, when my daughters and my son go to school. I look at, man, we got all white teachers.
No, we don't.
Where my daughter go to school, and I said, well, how can we change that dynamic of creating more diversity in the school systems? I look at how we grew up with, I don't understand this math. Oh, don't worry about it. We're going to pass you. Then you get to high school, college. Man, I don't understand this. Oh, you play basketball? You the athlete, you the player to get 2 years in a row. You good, we got you. So I'm never learning. I'm never educating myself on really what I can learn, because it's just, I'm getting past. Now as I get older, I'm looking at everything like my daughter, my son, issues. What are the issues that I see in this generation? I'm in DC, and I laugh because me and my wife is like, we were singing the Star Spangled Banner, and she was like, "What you know about this, Chris?" I'm like, it's like what I tell people. We graduated middle school in 9th grade. Like I graduated in 6th and 9th grade in Flushing, and I'm singing it. We do the Pledge of Allegiance, let every voice and sing, right? And my wife said, "What you know about this song?" And I'm like, "What the hell you mean what I know about this song?" Like, we had to sing this almost every week in school. And she like, so as a city kid, I'm thinking, I'm like, this is nationwide.
Yeah.
Like, all you guys got to be singing the Star Spangled Banner, because I'm singing this shit too. So I'm like, we singing the Pledge of Allegiance, then we singing the Star Spangled Banner. And then she says, "You know this song?" I'm going, "Yeah." She like, And then she told me something. And I had to take, you got these pressing time. She said, "Chris, I was smart. I was smart. I wanted to learn just like we did. When we were smart and we wanted to learn, we're just getting bullied." So she wanted to learn. She didn't talk like other people. So it was, "You're talking white. You're talking white." We wanted to learn, but everybody in the back joining. We wanted to be cooler. I got to go to the back because we sitting at the front of the classroom and we ain't joining the people that's joining. You old nerd, motherfucker.
You sitting up front.
You sitting up front, you a nerd. So
I always got sat up front because I was always cutting up in the back.
So you get processed as, I can't learn, right? So I walked through the school this like 2 years in that I was at Hanley. My wife laughs to this day because I'm like, man, I walked through school and I open up the door and I'm going to see one of my kids. And I'm walking in this classroom, that classroom, that classroom. I'm like, the hell is going on here? Right? I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, this kid, they listening. Like, there ain't no noise in it. So, like, what's going on? And I said, show me it. I said, man, I've never seen so many kids pay attention in class like this. And some of them was in the back sleeping, like,
Yeah.
like it wasn't no noise, it wasn't nothing. She said, Chris, that's what school's supposed to be. I'm like, what? like, what do you mean it's supposed to be you sit and you listen? No, the ones who listen is supposed to be up front. The ones who want to cut up, where we move to. Yeah.
Well, it's personal accountability. What do you want to get out of this? What do you want to get out of your education? At some point, you got to take some kind of self responsibility for it.
But how we supposed to take self accountability for learning how to balance?
Do your kids cut up? Do your kids cut up in class? Because you set the example at the house.
But my mother set an example for me. But when I go to school, the example is if my mother's telling me to do this. But when I go to school, the culture is telling me, I dare your ass sit up there in the front.
You made a choice.
And you got to choose.
You made a choice.
Yeah, I made a choice. But
to sit in the back or sit in the front.
But I think if I had a strong father figure in the household growing up, I might would have made different choices.
Not only that, that it could be the father, but and the teacher, because my problem is
You gotta be a leader.
all the teachers wasn't. You got some teachers that want the whole class to excel and move forward. And you got some teachers that's only locked in to the smaller kids, and they don't care about the kids that's struggling behind. I was one of those kids that if you was going too fast for me, and I ain't kept, then I would just be drawn. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm in my own world.
I used to carve into the desk.
I've been an artist, so I've been there drawing Michael Jackson or whatever. But not until I got into class where it was a teacher that cared, that was like, everybody that let me know if you didn't get it, and I'll go back over it again. You know what I'm saying? And then it's a point where it's like, all right, it is up to me. I'm not going to be too ashamed to say that I missed it and take that help that she giving me, but at least she is somebody in there trying to help. And so that can make the difference on what I'm doing, you know?
All right, fellas, I think, man, it's been beautiful, man. It's been beautiful.
Like sponsor.
Love you. We got
Definitely going to do it again.
Oh yeah.
sponsor afterwards.
The finesse kid, boy who hide is me. Told the doctor I'm a healthy kid. I smoke broccoli. I will run around your boy like Monopoly. Oh boy, you was a broke boy. Flockers got you beat.
This brotherhood that we started, I could see growth from all of us.
In the beginning, but in the beginning to the top.
Yeah. It's not only the audience growing, it's personal growth.
Personally,
Y'all would be voting Republican before you know it.
I ain't believe it. The first part is all about taking action, and we done took action.
I got
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Before we leave.
Yeah.
I got a coach that told me, his name Coach D. He told me I don't vote. I said, man, you better now. Yeah, so, yeah, I ain't gonna throw that out there. We're gonna edit that part. Nah, man, it's been fun. Man, I think we'll be creating, man, as a team, man, as a family, man. It's about to get real.
It's good.
Yep.
Money, want some food, boy, you hungry? I want them hungry.